What's going on, people? Welcome to another Emotion Football live stream. My name is Alam, and today we got the second version of the AI generated 2025 NFL mock draft. We did this 2 days ago. It was cool. It was a good learning experience. It was a bit of a shit show, but I think I figured out a way for this to actually work and work well. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to do this again. We're here to try this out. Um, this is meant to be a bit of an interactive thing. So anybody watching live, like my guy Jared, shout out to you. Feel free to chime in. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go pick by pick. I've fed ChatGPT the draft order, a player pool. I've ordered the player pool, but I've asked ChatGPT to do your outside research when it comes to team needs and player abilities in order to match team needs. We're going to go from there. We're going to see what the research, what kind of research it comes up with, how accurate they might be, things of that effect. So before I get started, shout out to everybody watching live. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel Emotion Football. We're going to be doing quite a bit of streams like this before the draft, and we're going to be live at some point during the draft as well. So if you want to support the content, those are the best two ways to do so. So with that out of the way, let's get things started. So ChatGPT knows the basics of what we're gonna do. We're gonna ask it, hey, let's do a 2025 NFL mock draft. Come on, okay, true. Shout out to General. I also have Pistons Knicks on in the background. Let's do a 2025 NFL mock draft. We're going to go pick by pick. So wait for my prompt. Wait for. We're gonna go pick by pick. Let's just go pick by pick. I will give you each team's draft philosophy before each pick. Use the attached file and included instructions to make the mock draft. If you think a team can address their needs later in the draft, propose trade downs with teams looking to trade up. All right, so we've given it the basic instructions. It knows generally what's going on. So let's see what it comes up with. First pick. Okay, go ahead and give me the draft philosophy for the Tennessee Titans at number 1. Okay, so for the Tennessee Titans at number 1, Tennessee. Wait, I spelled that wrong. Tennessee needs a QB. They don't have one. They will need a huge. Hold on. It will take something crazy. It will take something crazy for them to not go QB here. All right. Let's see what that does. Whoa. Hold on. Best available QBs. So the pick is in. Oh, you know what? That's cool. Pick 1, Cam Ward. Very, very simple. It did a little ranking here of the quarterbacks. I thought it was about to do multiple picks. Okay, cool. So the Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward. Okay. Keep track of the picks because I may ask for picks at some point. All right. Cleveland. Okay, guys, what do you think we should tell ChatGPT about Cleveland? Because realistically, they're either going Shadur, Abdul Carter, or Travis Hunter. Now, I don't want to tell it where to go. I don't want to tell it, here, pick Abdul Carter, pick Travis Hunter, whatever. I'm not going to say those things. What I want to tell ChatGPT, though, is more like, okay, the Cleveland Browns they need a quarterback, but they're so fucked that they don't actually need a quarterback right now. They have an opportunity to get a quarterback later. They have an opportunity to get a quarterback in future years. Like, so this is the thing. Like, should Cleveland get bombed as a franchise? Not the worst thing to float out there. Let's just say this: Cleveland's needs are complex. They have no realistic chance of being good this year. Because of this, they are likely to take a long-term approach to building their team. Regardless of their needs, they will take the best football player available to them. Okay, cool. I think that's a fair way of breaking down Cleveland's situation. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay, best player available on the board is Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is one of the most uniquely gifted players in recent memory. His ability to play both corner and receiver at this high of a level is rare, but even if the Browns want to focus on one side of the ball, he offers all-pro upside. Given Cleveland's flexibility and long-term outlook, he's the perfect BPA choice. So the pick is Travis Hunter. This is going much better than yesterday. So this is really, really good. We're 2 picks in. We're now at the Giants. Now, what do we tell ChatGPT about the Giants? I'm thinking that the idea about New York is that they need a player that can help them win right now. They need a quarterback long term. They need a bunch of things generally, but with the jobs on the line, they have to win right now. In my opinion, if I had to call it right here, they're going Abdul Carter. Now, I would hate to see that. I don't want to see them with Abdul Carter. I think he's really, really good. I already have to deal with Micah Parsons in the division. Ask which player fits Brian Daboll's scheme better. Yeah, but Abdul Carter doesn't fit his scheme at all because he doesn't play that side of the ball. So that part's tricky. So actually, I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna feed it the way I explained it to you guys. The New York Giants have management and have a general manager and a coach that have to win this year in order to save their jobs. However, they have no. You know what? I've heard some rumors about the owner meddling to get Shador involved. I don't know if that's really real. So I don't know. I can't say that. You know what? They have to win in order to save their jobs. While they have an array of needs, they have to take a player here that impacts winning immediately. There are rumors the owner may be meddling and pushing them to take a quarterback, but there is no way to. The Browns should take a quarterback. Shout out to Ravens fan. Ravens fan says the Browns should take a quarterback. But like, the thing is, do you not think that? Okay, first of all, you know what? This is the best way to put it. Do you think that there's a huge gap between the quarterback available at 2, so Shador, and the quarterback available at 33, whoever that is? Because if you think there's a big gap, then I understand saying that they should go quarterback. There's a lot of people that think that there's not a huge gap between Shador and Milroe / Jackson Dart at 33. And I think that's where those people are coming from. But yeah, we're gonna go get back to the Giants. But there's no way to know if that is real. Okay, let's see what ChatGPT says about the Giants. Quarterback option: Shador Sanders. is the next best. If the Giants is a song, okay. See, ChatGPT always seems to think they still have Daniel Jones. No matter what I do to tell it to be current, it'll be current in every other way. But then fucking Daniel Jones will be the last thing it fails to realize. Shador is talented, but maybe not. Okay, immediate impact players: Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Will Campbell. Verdict: holy shit! Holy shit! Saquon's replacement and the wide receiver core. Oh my god! No way! No way! ChatGPT, man, what the hell? It even went against the order. It says here Abdul Carter, rank number 3. Will Campbell, rank number 5. But you know what's interesting? Okay, this is actually very, very interesting. It says here, right? Explosive edge rusher. What it specifies here is that the Giants' offensive line is a massive need after poor OL play in 2024. It's technically not wrong. It's technically not wrong that the Giants have issues at offensive line more than defensive line because they have Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. If they were to draft Abdul Carter, one of those guys is a bench player. I'm talking like basketball. One of those guys is a rotational edge rusher all of a sudden. In theory, ChatGPT is not wrong about the fact that the Giants need offensive linemen more than defensive linemen. That being said, this is crazy. But the thing is like, I want to do this kind of a mock draft mainly for this reason, because this is outside of the box thinking that no person is really going to give you. Like, we all have very basic normal ideas about what's going to happen. And the reality is that like the draft never goes the way you expect it to go. So you know what? Fuck it. We're going to let it ride with Will Campbell. ChatGPT made a call. We're going to live with it. Okay. Okay. Wow. We will continue forward with the draft. But first, tell me why Campbell over Abdul Carter. I gotta hear this. Here's why Campbell edged him out. Why he was picked. Immediate impact at a premium weakness. See? That's what I was just talking about. Giants' offensive line was a disaster in 2024, ranking near the bottom in pressures allowed and derailing any chance of offensive consistency. Will Campbell is a polished plug-and-play left tackle with SEC experience, gives you instant help on day one, something the current regime must have to survive. Maximizing the current roster. Investing in the offensive line maximizes whatever is left to see. It always fucking thinks Daniel Jones is still there. Now, that being said, Russell Wilson is, so it's not that big of a difference, hilariously. Or whichever quarterback is there if there's a switch. It also helps with the running game and opens up deep shots to Jalen Hyatt, Wandale, and any vet they bring in. Brother, they have Malik Neighbors, but again, the point still stands. Abdul Carter's impact is slightly less immediate. Abdul Carter, see, man, ChatGPT is spinning. They already have Thibodeau and Brian Burns. I'm just going to tell you, like I already mentioned it, I really am scared of the idea of the Giants getting Abdul Carter. Not scared as if to say that they're going to be good. I just really like Abdul Carter. And I'm sick of my division rivals having a bunch of players that I like. I'd love for him to go to New England so I could just cheer for him and be a fan. So this is very cool. This is very cool for me. I appreciate this. Why Carter almost got the pick. He's a top 3 overall talent. If the Giants didn't acquire Brian Burns, this would have been a slam dunk. Holy shit. Hey, we can revisit Carter soon. He won't be on the board much longer. Ooh, ChatGPT with the bands. Let's go. Okay, New England Patriots. The Patriots have an array of needs. However, Mike Vrabel is a coach that prioritizes physicality and toughness. With this in mind, I anticipate this pick is in the trenches. But that's just my call. Okay, what's up, King? Bro, King. So what happened is, just I'm gonna loop you in because you were here last time. I did quite a bit to figure out how to program ChatGPT to do this a little bit better, right? I figured out how to give it a player pool, how to order the player pool. I got it to research team needs and how players fit the needs, stuff like that. But yeah, so it's a lot better. This mock is a lot better. The first 2 picks went as expected, but bro, ChatGPT gave the Giants Will Campbell. And it's actually very interesting, the thought process, right? So it says here that these are the 3 impact players that it was deciding between: Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, and Will Campbell. The verdict is that Will Campbell will help the Giants' biggest weakness and help them win now, because that's what that staff needs to do. They could possibly lose their jobs if they don't win immediately. So I said winning now is a must. So I picked Will Campbell, right? Now, I was like, holy shit, you picked Will Campbell over Abdul Carter. Explain it. And it actually gave not a stupid response, right? It says here, immediate impact on a premium weakness. Their offensive line was a bigger weakness than edge. Maximizing the current roster because, you can't do anything with the running backs and the quarterbacks. You can't do anything without a good offensive line. And Abdul Carter's impact is slightly less immediate because it says they already have Thibodeau and Brian Burns. So, hilariously, the idea that Will Campbell is more of a win now move pick than Abdul Carter is not completely off, which is crazy. But it's not this is a nice example of outside of the box thinking that I don't think any person would arrive at. But that's why I really wanted to do this. So very excited to see where this has gone. The Patriots is the next pick. We're going to feed ChatGPT this prompt. The Patriots have an array of needs. However, Mike Vrabel is a coach that prioritizes physicality and toughness. With this in mind, I anticipate this pick is in the trenches, but that's just my call. Okay, let's see what New England does here. If Mike Vrabel is steering this thing, we're looking at a build from the trenches philosophy: toughness, physicality, and discipline over flash. Top Vrabel picks on the board: Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Armand Membu. Quarterback check. If Shedeur, but based on Vrabel's trench heavy style, brother, they have Drake May. Final call. This feels like Mason. Oh my God, Abdul Carter is falling. What the hell did Abdul Carter do? Okay. Why Mason Graham over Abdul Carter? What the fuck? What the fuck? This one is crazy. Okay. Mike Vrabel's defense is going back to a Tennessee start inside out. He values big-bodied linemen who can control gaps, stop the damn. Carter is a pure edge rusher, while explosive may be seen as a more finesse athleticism than power. A contrast, damn. Immediate 3-down impact. Is a 3-down defense tackle collapse? Okay, Carter is more of a learner. Okay, shit. Positional scarcity. Okay, you know what? Okay, let me look at the Patriots, because the Patriots signed Milton Williams. I didn't think that they're this down bad at defensive tackle. If they have Milton Williams and Mason Graham, you know what? They have Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. They don't have anything beyond that. Christian Barmore technically is with his blood clotting issue, not a sure thing. You know what? We're going to let ChatGPT cook. I'm not going to freak out too much. Let this AI cook, man. It actually has justifications. I'm not saying these are the right calls, but it actually has justifications. Also, I'm seeing the Knicks game right now. Detroit really sold, man. Detroit sold completely. Okay, Jaguars can do anything. They have a lot of needs, and they can go in any direction but quarterback. In year one of the GM, yo, I watched that game. I did a watch along for that game on my basketball channel. That shit was crazy. That shit was complete chaos. I cannot believe the Clippers lost that. Shout out to Russell Westbrook, though. In year one of this GM and coach tenure, I think they go best player available. All right. AI. Let's go. Cook. First year regimes with tons of names and no quarterback question often default to best player available, especially if they're not under pressure to win immediately. BPA options: Abdul Carter, Shador Sanders, Ashton Genty, Armand Mambu, and Tyler Warren. Carter finally comes off the board here. So the Jaguars select Abdul Carter. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what that looks like for them. So Jaguars, our lads. This probably, if this were to happen, this results in a Josh Hines Allen trade, I think. Because they have Trayvon Walker. Damn, bro, they would have three edge rushers. Trayvon Walker is just starting to really like produce the way they would have hoped he would. Oh, bro, Giannis is getting out of there. Giannis is definitely getting out of there. So shit, Abdul Carter finally goes at number 5. Okay, the Raiders. The Raiders. So guys, what do you guys want to say about the Raiders? Because I'm thinking the prompt for the Raiders should basically be, this team. Fuck, I don't even know. Jaguars should take a quarterback and trade Trevor Lawrence. Interesting. So I'm not mad at this take at all. My only issue is I think trading his contract is a little bit too difficult now. It's too early in his contract to move that much money. But if the contract was tradable, I would not mind exploring this option. Did you hear what Doc said after the game? No, I missed it. Okay, but guys, what are we gonna say about the Raiders? Because my thing about the Raiders is like I kind of don't buy that they would trade for Geno, extend Geno, and then draft Shador with this high of a pick just to have Shador sit for at least a year. Like it would kind of feel like the Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix situation, right? I don't know if you paid Geno that money just to be there for 8 games. It doesn't make sense to me. I think you trade for Geno because you want some time. I don't know if they take number 6, they take a quarterback. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say. The Raiders have lots of needs and can many directions. I am not sold on the idea that they will go quarterback because they traded for 35-year-old Geno Smith and extended his contract. Given what happened with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, we must want a Super Bowl team. Yeah, I agree. I think the Geno trade kind of tipped their hand. Given what happened with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, I do not think they invest so much capital in a QB after paying another QB. However, the owner seems to like Shador, and maybe they don't think they'll be picking this high again in the draft. However, the coach Pete Carroll is old and likely wants to win immediately. And likely wants to win immediately. A philosophy that aligns with the Geno Smith acquisition. All right, let's go. Let's see. This was a bit of a long prompt. Let's see what it does. AI, go crazy. Hold on. I have to see this. Let me open this link now. What is this? It's hard to score when you don't touch the ball. Kuz can play, but we got to involve him. We got to make sure we keep him. Damn, bro. Damn. This is nasty business right here. Telling your best player that they need to involve Kyle Kuzma is horrendous work. I'm appalled. Like, I'm genuinely sick. I'm sick seeing this, bro. Giannis, I'm so sorry. Holy shit, I'm so sorry. He's just saying get Kuzma, isn't it? But bro, there's no way. Here's the thing. Maybe I didn't watch the game. Was it really happening like that? Like Kuzma was there and he was just never getting the ball? Because I don't think Kuzma is capable of just never getting the ball. But I don't know though. Then drop. Oh, this is true. This is true. This is true. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's Doc's problem. It's definitely Doc's problem. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Raiders. Summary of conflicting polls. 72 years old, wants to win now. Geno Smith's contract, draft room outlooks. Uh, top options available. Final Armand Membu. Oh wow. Oh wow. Let me look at the Raiders depth chart. I mean, yeah, you know what? They could definitely either play this guy at guard or kick in DJ Glaze into guard. By the way, DJ Glaze is a hell of a name. You know what? You know what? I like this for the Raiders. And I like this for the AI, man. These are outside of the box picks. I'm a fan. Okay. Okay. Let's go with the Jets. The Jets, let's say the Jets have invested enough in Justin Fields to won't let him. I agree about this, by the way. I think he'll play 100% of one side of the ball and then like 30% of the other side of the ball. They have enough invested in Justin Fields to not go QB this high. They have a lot of and can go many directions. I believe Aaron Glenn's input influence is strong, and so keep in mind the kind of culture he would try to build, similar to that of the Detroit Lions. Okay. Let's do. Are you guys comfortable with this Jets write up? I think this gets at the main themes. This gets at the main themes, and I'm comfortable with it. So let's do it. No QB is the guy for now. They've already invested assets. Influence, high physical players, roster needs. OL, edge is thin. Top options on the board. Holy shit! The Jets go edge rusher Jalen Walker. Let's see. I kind of think that this is the first one we have to override because it's making it seem like Will McDonald is the only piece they have. Sorry, where is it? Edge beyond Will McDonald. But I think they have another guy. They have Jermaine Johnson. So let's see. What did Jermaine Johnson do? Is he ass now? Maybe he's washed because he was a first round pick. Why are his stats not loading? All right. Why is it not showing me his career stats? What? Okay, Jermaine Johnson, the other edge rusher. Oh, he's coming off a major injury. So this guy was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago. I don't know about this one. I don't know. You know what? It's not enough to override it. They go Jalen Walker. Yeah, a Detroit Lions influenced team might go edge rusher, or at least at the very minimum, a trenches pick. I think this pick is probably the case because two offensive linemen have already gone. So going the third offensive lineman is tough here from a value standpoint. But shit, man. Okay, Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers, I would say that they have a handful of needs, but edge rusher is their biggest one. Like I would say edge rusher and yeah, that's the biggest one. Okay. The Panthers' main need is edge rusher. Beyond that, they have a handful of needs. Okay, let's go. I think that's simple enough. Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, James Pierce. Yo, if they go Shamar Stewart, I'm going to be very scared of them. Scared for them. Scared for them. Not scared of them. Sorry. Okay. Michael Williams. Michael Williams. You know what? Like, I actually think this sucks for them because Michael Williams and Shamar Stewart are the two players that are edge rushers that are very like in need of development, right? They are not ready to play immediately. These guys are athletic freaks that have to hone their skills to really start producing. So, unfortunately for them, as much help as they need at edge, they don't get it immediately. They're going to have to be patient. Need to draft a whole lot of defensive players. I agree, and I think for them, they've spent money on a defensive tackle. They've spent money on a safety. Um, Edge rusher is the only place that they really needed an upgrade, but they didn't spend any money. So I definitely think that edge is where they're going to go. And maybe a receiver. Saints needs some offensive weaponry, maybe a receiver. Okay, so my thing with the Saints, let me look up their depth chart immediately. So I think the New Orleans Saints could use everything except where are we? They could use an offensive lineman. Actually, no, let me look up Dylan Radins. Is he there to start? Maybe I'm wrong. No, but you know what it is, bro? Uh Ravens fan, how comfortable are you banking on Chris Olave? Because I really think the concussions are a serious issue. I don't know if I'm all the way bought in on relying that Chris Olave is going to be available for 17 games. In my head, I'm just kind of imagining that you're going to have him for half a season. And if the concussions keep happening, that's only something that's a more and more of a concerning thing. Radins is there to start. So, like, I don't think we can. If Olave's healthy, then yeah, you're right. They have Olave and Shaheed. But yeah, I don't know. They're not going offensive line because they have 5 starters. They could go tight end, so Tyler Warren is on the table. They could go Shadur because Derek Carr is apparently going to miss a bunch of next year, and they don't have all they have is Rattler before beyond that. They're not going running back because they still have Kamara. So this is either tight end. This is either tight end, receiver, quarterback on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they could go. Yeah, you know what? They might not go edge because they have 3 guys. Although they probably still could use an edge. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say that defensively they could go. I mean, corner. You know what? I'm gonna give ChatGPT the freedom to go in a bunch of different directions. Offensively, The Saints have but you know what? They just spent 10 million a year on Jawan Johnson. You're right, bro. They could use a corner. The Saints could use a QB, wide receiver, or TE. Defensively, they could use a CB or DT. Their needs are forgetting NFL teams are also watching the UFL because some players come from the UFL. That's true. That's true. Some depth guys come from the UFL, but I don't know. I don't know exactly if the Saints are going to have their mind there when it comes to players that they need to play. Like I think it's one thing to get developmental guys from the UFL, but guys that have to play, I think it has to be somebody that's a little bit more ready. Their needs are hold on. Their needs are all fairly even, without one need jumping, without one need standing out in comparison to the rest. The Saints. Mickey Loomis is still the GM, right? Let me just check this out. Yeah, since what the hell? Since 2002. While Kellen Moore is new, Mickey Loomis has been there for ages. So it will be tricky to balance the history of Loomis and the new influence of Kellen Moore. I think that's a really sick prompt. I think we did a good job of kind of capturing how many different things. Because I remember Bryce Perkins from the draft, and then I think he really got some preseason games. That's all he got in the NFL. But I agree, like you can kick the tires on those kind of players. Okay. Will Johnson, Shamar Stewart. Okay, Shador is off the board. Okay. I kind of like this because I think Kellen Moore will be a good offensive mind for a player like Shador. And I think Shador needs an offensive mind, a respected, reputable one. I think him playing in a dome is beneficial for him. I think he'll play with the best offensive line he's ever played with. I think he'll definitely need a weapon, another weapon, because in Colorado, he was used to having a handful of receivers. At New Orleans, he really only has two. Hey, so Ravens fan, where do you have Shador going? Do you because I think the really only viable options are the Giants and the Raiders, right? Yeah, ChatGPT is cooking, bro. ChatGPT is cooking, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm just enjoying the outside the box thinking. Um, okay. Shador goes 9. So he probably starts immediately because the competition is Shador against Spencer Rattler, and I think Shador probably gets that job. Oh yeah, you have the Browns taking a quarterback. Honestly, if they take Shador, so you got to pray for that organization. You got to pray for them. Shit. Okay, next team. We got the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears. I think the approach should be a little bit different. I think we should keep in mind that Ben Johnson came from the Lions. So let's put it like this. Um, the Bears addressed quite a few of their needs before the draft. However, have there quite a there are no glaring holes on the roster. The Bears will likely spend this pick reinforcing a part of the team that Ben Johnson, a part of the team. Hold on. Will likely spend this pick reinforcing a part of the team that Ben Johnson wants to upgrade from the previous regime to make it more in line with his philosophy. Ben Johnson also comes from the Lions. So the assumption is that he will look to build a similar culture. Johnson's offense is very particular, and he may need to upgrade parts of the offense to fit his unique style. The last consideration is that Ben Johnson is an offensive coach, and the Bears' defense was generally good last year. Okay. Long prompt, got a lot of shit off, but I think it leaves ChatGPT in a good spot. Okay, Noga, versatile weapon, wide receiver slash tight end. Defense likely not prioritized. BPA fits on offense. Warren, McMillan, Genty. Ooh, and the Bears select Tyler Warren. Where's King at, bro? Remember Warren fell all the way to where did he fall? The Broncos? No, the Seahawks. Finally, Warren gets picked at a respectable spot. So I think that really gives him the kind of weapon he'll be looking for. I don't think that the Lions offenses were ever like 3 receiver kind of a teams. So I don't think that they're going to be looking to add a receiver in addition to a Dunze and DJ Moore. But I think upgrading Cole Kmet to Tyler Warren is awesome because Warren can do a lot more Laporta shit than Kmet can. I also just generally don't think Kmet is all that. So I think this is a nice pick, and it just leaves them with the running back position to figure out. So I like this. I like this for the Bears. Okay, San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers have had a lot of roster turnover because of the need to trim salary with the Purdy extension upcoming. Okay. With this being the case, there are several needs that could be addressed. The Niners are coming off a Super Bowl loss and then a disappointing season. So pressure on the management and coaching staff you push them to make a need-based pick. I believe their biggest needs are in the trenches, but that's just me. Okay, cool. Let's see what ChatGPT says. I think the Niners, that's a pretty good way to put it. Like, I think they're under a lot of pressure to at least have a positive season, right? Relative to expectations, they had a really bad year last year. They know how good they can be. They've been to two Super Bowls now, this regime. But last year was a disappointment. They're gonna pay Purdy. They're gonna give Purdy the biggest contract that this regime has given to a quarterback because Garoppolo wasn't that expensive. Um, so yeah, this is going to be a big thing for them. Their draft picks are going to start to be really important, and I do think they're going to push it and go for a need. I don't think they're just going to go BPA. Like in theory, they could go receiver, but I don't think they would. Okay. Verdict pick Kelvin Banks, offensive lineman from the Texans, has uncertainty at both tackle spots long term, so they take Kelvin Banks. Dallas Cowboys. I think with the Cowboys, it's kind of interesting. You can honestly you can go everywhere offensively, really. Everywhere but tight end, I think. Because a tight end here would be outrageous, especially with it being the second tight end off the board. You can go everywhere but tight end. Defensively, you could go edge, you could go defensive tackle. I think you could go everywhere but linebacker. Probably safety too. I think going safety would be a little bit aggressive. Why am I looking off into the distance? I can just pull up their depth chart. Cowboys are lads. It's pretty nice. Yeah, for sure. It's a nice combination, and they need something like that really badly. You know what? They could go anywhere except I'm gonna step away from saying that they should. You know what? No, they're not gonna go linebacker. Okay. The Cowboys can go anywhere except QB, TE, and LB. When making this pick, don't forget Jerry Jones. I'm not going to say why, but you just have to keep in mind, don't forget Jerry Jones. Okay, cool. I hear you loud and clear. Never forget Jerry Jones. That means star power, big swings, and sometimes choosing the sizzle and the steak. Bro, McCarthy's not even there. Tedero McMillan. Okay, Tedero McMillan goes to the Cowboys. They give CeeDee Lamb a wide receiver too. Pretty different style of player. I actually think that if you were to have T Mac and Lamb, you would have a great 1-2, but you wouldn't really have like a burner that stretches the field. Now T Mac stretches the field in his own way. But yeah, if they complement these two receivers with a burner, that's a hell of a 1-2-3. And you have Turpin to do trick play shit. This would be a Jerry Jones pick. Now, for what it's worth, bro, Genty would also be a Jerry Jones pick. I was actually really trying to nudge ChatGPT towards Genty, but it went for T Mac. So that's cool. That's good enough. Like I can live with that. Miami Dolphins. The Dolphin. Let's take a look here. Dolphins can go. Honestly, I think they can go any. They can't go receiver. They can't go quarterback this high. They can't go tight end with how their roster is built, or running back really. Okay, so where does that leave them offensively? Just basically offensive line. Defensively, they could legitimately go anywhere. You know what? No, I lied. They can't go edge rusher because they actually have enough bodies there. You know what? They have no business going linebacker as well with the amount of bodies they have there. Okay, cool. They can go OL, DT, or secondary. Dolphins can go OL, DT, CB, or S. Keep in mind that the team, where is it? The team has tons of needs. A coach, GM under pressure. Hold on. And 2 players, Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill, that seem like they'll be traded within the next 365 days. Okay, go crazy. Go crazy. Let's see. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Dolphins draft philosophy at 13. Many needs, leadership under pressure, need-based pick with an urgency to contribute early. They're still trying to compete, but the looming departures of Ramsey and to suggest a possible retooling arc. Mike McDaniels is creative, but this pick likely comes down to OL, and not a flashy offensive skill guy. Tyreek's eventual departure, but McMillan is gone, and nobody else is close to his level right now. Damn, okay. Real analysis. Josh Simmons, corner, defensive line. Final decision is Will Johnson. So I think Will Johnson is an excellent pick here. It's a huge need. Ramsey is apparently going to get traded. They actually don't have anybody else on the outside. They have Kader Kohu to play in the slot. But right now, and King will tell you better. Right now, it looks like one of Storm Duck or Artie Burns is going to play. Storm Duck, undrafted free agent from last year, undrafted rookie actually. So like not a particularly big name, but Artie Burns, my goodness, this is what I was talking about when I mentioned King. Artie Burns, your outside corner in 2025 is truly disgusting, reprehensible work. So getting Will Johnson here is huge. It can, they can trade Jalen. They can figure out what the hell to do after that. But getting Will Johnson initially is nice. So you got Will Johnson. The next team we're looking at is the Indianapolis Colts. Yo, actually, like that motherfucker is Buns. Artie Buns, but drop the R. Okay, Indianapolis Colts. I don't think they can go receiver. I think they can definitely go guard. I think they can definitely go tight end. I don't think they can go quarterback or running back. So this is either guard or tight end offensively. Defensively, I don't think they can go edge because teams typically don't go edge back-to-back years. They can go DT, I think. You know what? No, they have hella bodies, bro. They're not going DT. They have enough needs. They could go. They probably could go linebacker. But in the secondary, I'm thinking probably corner. So corner, linebacker, guard, or tight end. This pick looks like corner. No, hold on. OL. No, specifically looks like offense. No, just guard. Yeah, guard, tight end, cornerback, or LB. Keep in mind that this situation is quite literally a pressure cooker between the amount of pressure on Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen, Chris Ballard, and Jim Irsay from the fans. Results are needed. But look, at CB is getting some. Yo, facts. Will Johnson fell out of the first round in the last mock. God damn. What's good, Jared Brown? What's good? We've been having fun. It's been a good mock. Okay. Owner known for impulsive moves and cocaine. Target positions. Those are the positions. Plays early, elevates Richardson, aligns with Steikens. Speed versatility model from Philly. I didn't even know it as that, but fuck it, that's good enough. Josh Simmons, ideal to slot in at guard. Damn, I didn't know he was a guard like that. Tight end, Jade Barron, Jihad Campbell. Final verdict, Josh Simmons. So they go offensive lineman from Ohio State, keeping him relatively local. Lets them replace, what was his name? Will Fries, that they lost to Minnesota. I believe they're going with Tanner Bordellini, one of their picks from last year at center. But yeah, this is a nice plug and play option at guard. We'll let them have a good offensive line if everything goes the way it's supposed to go. And yeah, I think the Colts should be happy with that if it breaks down like this. Okay, Falcons, Atlanta Falcons. Gonna look at their situation gonna look at their situation now. I think they could definitely go receiver, upgrade Ray McLeod. Let me see who this Ryan Nuzul guy is. Ryan Nuzul. I have to see, because is he a actually like viable replacement for Drew Dahlman? You know what? He started 8 games last year. Probably. Okay, so receiver, and that's it offensively. But this is actually, you know what? I'm not even going to entertain the possibility of them taking a receiver. This has to be a defensive pick. You know what? I'm just gonna give it that. Atlanta will go defense. Aside from that, I imagine Raheem Morris will have his hands all over this pick. Pause. Wait, let me see if it understands the humor. I hope it doesn't just pause it. Former defensive is underwhelming. Most logical target. Oh no. Shamar Stewart. Oh no. This is such an Atlanta pick. If you honestly think about it, between Pitts and Bijan and some of the other players that they've taken high, they love like supreme athleticism. And Shamar Stewart is exactly that. Shamar Stewart is literally one of the best athletes we've ever seen at the edge rush position. He's also not that good at football. Like, no bullshit. If you listen to anybody who watches the tape, they're just going to be like, yo, like, he's a freak athlete, but bro, when it comes to the skills of the sport, is just not that good. And the whole idea is that he's so young and athletic that there's time for him to pick these things up. But that's a complete developmental project, And I just don't trust the Falcons to develop somebody like edge rusher Julio Jones, right? But Julio Jones was actually great at what he did. Like, they didn't draft him and develop him. He was what he was. Bijan is what he is. Like, I don't know. I could see them making this pick. I would hate the pick for them. I don't think it would pan out there. But it'd be like that with Atlanta, man. Not a serious organization at this point. Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals. Okay. Where do I see them going? Do they need to go interior? Let me see. I think they do. Darius Robinson, 285. Dante Stills, 285. Okay, I do think they probably need to go interior. But they just went interior last year. Okay. Edge. They could go edge. They could go linebacker. You know what? They could go anywhere defense but safety. And then offensively, you know what? They're not going Harrison. No. This has to be a defensive pick. They will go defense anywhere but safety. When you decide which defensive position to draft, just keep in mind the signings they made last month. Not saying to avoid the positions they made signings at, just keep in mind the investments they have already made. Okay, let's go. Let's go, ChatGPT. What are the Cardinals going to do? What are the Cardinals going to do? Versatile defenders. No, it got the signings wrong. Brother, Josh Sweat. You know what? Let's see what it does. Jade Barron. Let me see. Yeah, you know what? Jade Barron is okay. Jade Barron is okay. That's a. I like this pick. I like this pick for the Cardinals. Um, it's not bad from a value standpoint. They do need cover guys. They did trade for Baron Browning and sign Josh Sweat. Yeah, you know what? This isn't bad. This isn't bad. I'm okay with Jade Barron. I'm definitely okay with Jade Barron. Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals. While common sense suggests this is a defensive pick, hold on. Let me verify what I'm about to type out. Bengals are lads. Okay. You know what? Yeah, right. I'm right about this. While comments said this is the Bengals still could use offensive linemen. And common sense isn't always common in Cincinnati. Okay, let's just see what it does with this prompt. Tyler Booker, Gray Zabel, Green, Maxwell Hairston. No. You know what? We got to override this, guys. I didn't cook. I didn't really cook. I didn't really cook with this prompt here. I can do better. I can do better. Okay. We got to add to this. Keep the Trey Hendrickson situation in mind, as it seems like Hendrickson and the Bengals are headed towards a divorce. Okay. I think I did better. Okay, Mike Green from Marshall. I think that makes a little bit more sense. They definitely need help at edge rusher. That's a premium position. They're not going linebacker. I think they could go. I think they could go defensive tackle, but I think they would tell you they have the bodies. Shit, man. I think they could have gone corner, but Jade Barron just went off the board. Mike Green is solid. This is a solid pick. Like, I'm not going to be mad about the Bengals going edge rusher. Hey, Trey Hendrickson does look like he's out the door. So that makes sense. Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Let me check their depth chart as well to make sure I'm not messing this up. Okay. Offensive line, huge need. defense. You know what? I think that's a good way to put it. I think there's like a weird push and pull about their needs. I don't quite know exactly. Okay. Seattle needs an offensive line. However, Mike McDonald needs his guys on defense. Seattle hired their coach to bring in elite defense with him, but he has not delivered yet. Seattle signed Sam Darnold to bring his production from Minnesota with him, but he will likely be unable to do so without an offensive line. Seattle has multiple needs that are very pressing. What do they do? Okay. Let's see. One of the most fascinating pivots. Here's how we've got to untangle it. OL is their number one need, hands down. They're weak inside and uncertain at tackle. They didn't hire to build an average defense. They need to start giving him his kind of players. This is a classic two-alarm fire situation. I like that. ChatGPT is cooking. Offensive options, Booker and Zabel. Defensive options, Kenneth Grant. Final verdict, Tyler Booker. So they go guard, which makes sense because their guards are horrendous. They at least have two offensive tackles. One of them is good, one of them is bad. But they really they need a guard in the worst way. And they finally get one here with Tyler Booker, which is going to help Sam Darnold do Sam Darnold things, hopefully. But yeah, Booker for Seattle makes sense. Shout out to King for thinking this was a quarterback for a second. But yeah, we're here. We made it. Okay, next team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let me look up their depth chart. What I heard about the Bucs is basically that Jahad Campbell doesn't fall behind, doesn't fall past this pick. Apparently, if Jahad Campbell is there, they are making this pick. I'm looking at their team. Linebacker is probably a bigger need than edge, potentially than defensive interior. I kind of don't buy the idea that they're okay at offensive line yet. I do think that they could upgrade one of the guard spots, but they're not going receiver or running back. They could go tight end. Okay, go tight end, guard, linebacker, safety. They could go, but I think what's his name, Emanwari in Winfield. I don't think that's a match. They could go corner though, because Zion McCollum isn't good enough. Okay. Tampa Bay's needs are TE. I mean, I think they're guard. Let me see Cody Mock and Ben Bredson. Let me look up their guards. Did these guys play most of the year last year? Cody Mock, currently penned in at right guard, started 17 games last year, and he's young, so he's definitely not getting replaced. Okay. And then, what's his name? Ben Bredson. Damn, he started 17 games last year too. Shit, never mind. They are absolutely not going offensive line. Okay. He's a tight end. I mean, let me see this Logan Hall fellow. Did he play a lot? Damn, he played a lot too. Okay. Yeah, linebacker and corner. Tampa Bay's main needs are linebacker and corner. Tampa Bay's main needs are their front office and coaching staff has been with the team for a long time, so trends in drafting can be studied. I also heard rumors that Jihad Campbell is they will make if available. Vet that rumor. Okay, let's see what ChatGPT does. What the hell? Did I crash ChatGPT? Okay. Draft tendencies often address key defensive positions early, especially when anticipating positional fit. You know what? I'm going to take the Jihad Campbell thing out. Because that shit that it was, the fact that it started with Jihad Campbell, that's a little sus. Colston Loveland. No, but it's not in that order though. So here's the thing. Needs in that order. This is not correct. So I gotta edit this shit again. In no order. There we go. Okay. This is the final one. Okay. Jihad Campbell, cleanest combination of need value in Tampa Bay Bucks draft identity. Replaces or rotates with Levante Smith, Levante David. Goddamn, who the hell is Levante Smith? Will thrive under Bulls, who has historically valued elite second level defenders. Okay, cool. We got Jihad Campbell off the board. The Broncos at number 20. Denver. Let's look up the Broncos depth chart. Broncos are lads. They could absolutely go receiver. Although I kind of feel like Sean Payton, I feel like he likes mid receivers, man. Like I think back at the Saints receiving cores. Aside from Marcus Colston, whole lot of mid. Aside from Michael Thomas, generally whole lot of mid. I think he has his Marcus Colston, Michael Thomas with Cortland Sutton. I don't see this being a receiver. I think a lot of teams with their roster would go receiver, but not this team. Offensive line, it was very sharp for them. Let me just look up this Luke Wattenberg to make sure he was the guy playing. Luke Wattenberg, was he the starter last year? Because I don't recognize this guy listed as the starting center. Just want to make sure they didn't lose theirs over the course of the offseason. Because if so, this would be a Gray Zabel spot. They're not going tight end after signing Ingram. They're not going quarterback after Bo Nix. They could go running back. Because they do seem to be like a not necessarily run first, but run heavy offense. Defensively, I don't think they have like a huge a huge gap anywhere except maybe safety. But they would probably be making a depth move. Wattenberg started 13 games for Denver. Okay, well, Denver only has um, one glaring need, RB. Besides that, they use a wide receiver, safety. Could they use an edge rusher? Yes. Could they use a defensive? Hold on. Edge. Or DT. Sean Payton has a lot of sway. So Sean Payton's influence will be strong. Okay. Let's go, ChatGPT. Big up, Joel. Big up. Okay, Joel. I don't think you've been here since I've been cooking this up. Basically, I fed ChatGPT um, the top 60 players in the draft, and I put them in an order based off some other people's orders that I think make sense. I gave ChatGPT the draft order, and I told it to research the internet for team needs and what the player's skill sets are to match need. And then before every pick, I feed ChatGPT what I think the idea is that the team is going to do, like what my idea is of the team's intentions. So for like the Giants, right, I told them like, yo, the Giants have to win now. Those motherfuckers might get fired, so they need somebody that can impact winning immediately. So yeah, just shit like that. But it's been pretty cool. Like the one I did 2 days ago, complete shit show. This one has actually been okay. Okay, with everything I told it about the Broncos, what Ashton Genty hasn't been picked yet. Oh my god, I totally forgot about him. Holy shit, Ashton Genty falls to the Broncos. That's amazing for them. What the hell? Wow. Damn. Okay, so the Broncos get Genty. I think that makes things pretty. Did you factor in pick tendencies? What does that mean? Exactly. Cause I think so, but I just want to make sure I know exactly what you're referring to. Also, yo, King, where you at? We need you. We need you for Pittsburgh. Also, Genwell, if you're here somewhere, tap in. Come to the front of the line. Chargers are coming up soon. I need your description. I need your description to feed ChatGPT. But yeah, what do you mean by pick tendencies? Like the teams or the organizations pick tendencies? Generally what the draft does? Bro, I forget that shit. Bro. I forgot it already. Type it out again. And bro, don't think about what you want. Think about what the organization's like ideas probably are. Their past picks. So I did in situations where it applied. Like I told the Saints, for when the Saints were picking, I was like, yo, keep in mind that Mickey Loomis has been doing this for a long time. Try to account for his tendencies, but then also the potential for Kellen Moore to have a new influence. For the Bucks, I told it to factor in the fact that their GM and their coach have been there for a long time. For certain organizations, I'll bring up how like, yo, this is a very a very old situation. But like for a situation like the Jets, like I kind of told it like, this is a brand new situation, and the coach is coming from the Lions. So think about what the Detroit. You know what, bro? At the end of the draft, if you're still here, I'll scroll down from the top so you can just see my prompts. And how it responded to the prompts. It's actually a pretty cool exercise, man. I'm really enjoying this. Bro, King is not here, so I have to do the Steelers on my own. This is whack. Okay. I'm gonna okay. Obviously they need a quarterback, right? But they're not going receiver with their huge investment in DK. I don't think they're going offensive line, to be honest, because I do think that they literally invested 3 draft picks last year and then a first round pick the year before. And they have Isaac Samalo. They could go running back because they don't have a guy. So running back or quarterback. Defensively, defensively they could go I think they could get some depth, but they have Cam Hayward and Keanu Benton. At the edge spot, they could definitely use some depth. They wanted Preston Smith last year. They cared enough about that spot to trade for him. It could be edge, but even that edge is a depth spot. They could go. You know what? This shit is probably. I'm just gonna say it how it is. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback desperately. However, at this point, none of the quarterbacks are. Hold on. None of the quarterbacks are suitable to play immediately. So this is a complicated problem to address. Pittsburgh also needs a running back, as they don't have an adequate starter. However, they have Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. So they likely won't draft a bell cow running back. Defensively, they could use some depth, but there are not any major glaring holes. Okay, I think that's a fair summary of where Pittsburgh is at. Okay, let's see what it says. Draft philosophy at 21. Desperately need a QB, but nobody there. Nobody left is ready to start week 1. Remaining options are toolsy, but not NFL ready yet. Drafting one here could be a luxury they can't afford unless they're ready to stash. RB is a need, are enough to make bell cow unlucky. Defense is solid. Okay, Kenneth Grant, Jackson Dart, Tyleek Williams, Donovan. Okay, so they go defensive tackle Kenneth Grant. So they decide, I guess, to do some Tomlin shit here. I think the exact pick is maybe a little bit off base because Keanu, you know what though? I think Keanu Benton doesn't have to be a nose tackle. I mean, he could be a defensive. Yeah, you know what? Kenneth Grant, I think they're prepared to play Derrick Henry with this pick. Yeah, this is some AFC North shit if I've ever seen it. Kenneth Grant to the Steelers. But yeah, that definitely means that they're in contention for a quarterback round 2. And I guess the assumption here is that they are going to get Rodgers wrapped up. So if you get Rodgers wrapped up, you're also in a win now situation. You don't sign a 41-year-old to not be win now. But yeah, bro, General, it's Chargers time. Chop, 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 chop. We need that. We need that Chargers write up. I'll look at their depth chart and I'll type out what I think is the case. Running backs fell way too far. By the way, we fucked up. We definitely fucked up. Okay, the Chargers need. Okay, all right. I'll just type this out. I don't know how to copy these things. The Chargers need a wide receiver, running back, CB, and when you see DL, do you mean defensive tackle and edge? Or one or the other? I'm just going to put defensive tackle and edge rusher. No particular order. Okay, no particular order. After not resigning, you got to be careful because resigning and resigning are two different things. Asante. In free agency, they are thin at CB, and they also lost J.K. Dobbins. Chargers also need For the y'all got Kenneth Grant. So actually, you know what? Before I do this, I'll copy paste this in a second. Hold on. And wide receiver help. Okay, cool. I'm gonna cut this. Yo, King, this is what I wrote for the Steelers, and you can change it if you want. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback desperately. However, at this point, none of the quarterbacks are suitable to play immediately, so this is a complicated problem to address. Pittsburgh also needs a running back as they don't have an adequate starter. However, they have Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell, so they likely won't draft a bell cow running back. Defensively, they could use some depth, but there are not any major glaring holes. That's fair, right? Because basically, I think what I got here is that, like, yo, you take Jackson Dart here, it's not like you still don't need a quarterback. So you get Aaron Rodgers, you're in a win now mode. Does Jackson Dart help you win now? Not really. Yeah, you need a running back, but if you have Omarion Hampton and you draft him at 21, you're probably never going to play Warren or Gainwell, because that's what you have to do to justify taking Hampton at 21. But you have Warren and Gainwell. So I don't think you're going to do that either. So I actually think that, like, if you're going to sign Rodgers, getting Grant makes sense. So I don't mind this. All right, we're gonna go to the Chargers. And see what it says with this prompt written up by our good friend Genwell. Golden Maxwell Hairston. Damn. Okay. The receivers are falling like crazy, and I think Green Bay just got really fucking lucky. Holy shit. I just realized this. Matthew Golden and Luther Burden are still here. And Emeka Ibuka. Okay, Green Bay. Let's check this our lads out really quickly. We need to figure this out. Packers, our lads. Yo, this is what you asked for. This is what you asked for, bro. You get Maxwell Hairston. Bro, Omarion Hampton is falling so far. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, Packers need okay, wide receiver 1, sure. Let me look up this Rasheed Walker fellow and Sean Ryan. Rasheed Walker, Packers. Did he play last year? Or do they need a left tackle? Yo, this website, Football Reference, is giving me a lot of trouble when I don't need it to. They're not going tight end. They're not going running back. They're not going quarterback, obviously. So it's either offensive line or receiver. And then defensively, I think the Packers could go edge rusher. They could go defensive tackle. I don't think, yeah, they're not definitely not going linebacker. They could go secondary. Yeah, I think they could go secondary, especially if they're trading Jair. And honestly, the fact that Jair hasn't been traded yet only kind of makes sense. If they're waiting for him to, okay, Rasheed Walker, 17 games for Green Bay. Damn, okay. Sean Ryan. Their right guard. You know what? We're just gonna say fuck it. He's gonna play. All right. So the Packers needs are what the fuck is Ibuka? Far as fuck, man. Okay. The Packers needs are wide receiver. Only a wide receiver 1, as they have several wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s. Okay. So wide receiver, defensive edge rusher, defensive tackle, and some Considering that apparently Jair Alexander will be moved before the season starts. These needs are in no particular order. You know what? No, hold on. Although the DT pick would primarily be a depth pick. Okay, cool. This is the summary of the Packers and what the Packers would have going on entering the draft. Okay, excellent. The Packers always draft with value and upside in mind. This is true. But if Jair Alexander is truly on his way out, corner could suddenly become an urgent need. Top fits Golden, Luther Burden. Exactly it. Siobhan Ravel. Final decision, Matthew Golden. My goodness, bro, they got lucky. They got so lucky that Matthew Golden fell to them in this mock. This is like Quinyon Mitchell falling to the Eagles, and it's the same area of the draft because for Philly that was 22. This is 23 for Green Bay. That's a hell of a pick, man. That's a hell of a pick. They actually get like a 1-2 punch with Golden and Reed. Shit, man. Like King said, man, lucky ass motherfuckers, man. Okay, Minnesota Vikings. We're gonna check our lads as well. Vikings depth chart. Okay. Offensively, they're not going receiver. They might go guard. They're not going tight end, running back, or quarterback. So this is either guard or defense. And defensively, they're not going safety because you can't go Harrison Smith replacement in the first round when you have a win now roster. No. Okay, at corner, how many games did Mekhi Blackman play last year? This is going to be important information. Because I think he tore his ACL, but I just want to make sure. They could go corner here. They're not going to go linebacker. They're not going to go edge. This is either defensive tackle, corner, or guard. It's either defense. Okay, I think I'm going to start typing it out, and if I Minnesota's glaring needs are wait, let me just check to make sure. This guy, 2023, played how many games? Bro, tell me the games he started. This is the only information I want to know. That's not his career starts either. Oh, I can maybe backdoor my way into no. Wow, why is Football Reference failing me right now? Anyways, okay, back to Minnesota. Glaring needs are guard, but then again, I have to look up who is Blake Brandel, and is he good at football? Okay, this guy Blake Brandel, their current left guard, is I think a career like backup. Yeah, he doesn't have any starts. Okay, so definitely guard. Our starting guard, DT depth. Oh, hold on. Depth, DT behind an aging Javon Hargrave and John Allen, between an aging and injury prone. So these two needs, by the way, are very big. And then competition with Makai Blackman for starting CB, coming off a season. All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, cool. No particular order. Let's go. Let's see it. What is Minnesota gonna do? Quessy tends to value premium positions, take calculated swings at high upside athletes. Guard is Gray Zabel, Siobhan Ravel, Derek Harmon. And the Vikings take Gray Zabel. So they are, at this point, honestly giving JJ McCarthy a fucking super team. Like, you give him, you just signed two starting offensive linemen from the Colts. You already had good tackles. So you get a center and a right guard. You get a left guard here. He has Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson to throw to. You got Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason in their backfield. JJ McCarthy is set up very nicely in this situation. And I like the Gray Zabel pick a lot. So one thing I would say is this completely fucks Houston over, because, man, Houston needs an offensive lineman in the worst way. In the worst way. Also, he's still in Michigan. No bullshit, bro. Like, they're giving him a Michigan style team. The same way, like, people were looking at Jalen Hurts and they were like, yo, can he play when he doesn't have a team that's stacked like Alabama? And it's like, oh, the Eagles are just going to give him Alabama. Oh, fam, Jared, come to the front of the line. Come to the front of the line. We need you. We need you. You got to write the prompt for your team. Now, what do I think the Texans need? I think that they need I think they've had a very interesting time with their offensive line. I think they need an interior lineman, but I think the run on that has gone. I think at the receiver position, they might have to take a receiver just because of how good the value is. At running back, tight end, they're not going to pick any of those positions. Defensively, I think they're really nice. I don't think they have a huge need aside from maybe defensive tackle. Linebacker, they're okay. Corner, their fucking secondary is insane. Okay. Houston's main need is offensive line, but they need, hold on. Main needs are offensive line, a quality starter, as they already have enough depth. Receiver, a quality starter, as they already have enough depth. And defensive tackle in no particular order. And defensive tackle. Okay. Let's see what ChatGPT says about the Houston Texans. Donovan Jackson. Ugh. Luther Burden. Oh my God, Luther Burden would be unreal. No, Luther Burden to Houston is perfect because like you get like a Debo Samuel-y like tricky weapon to give this new LA like Sean McVay style offensive coordinator. You give him to CJ Stroud in this offense. That's beautiful. Derek Harmon, I think that would be good for D'Amico, but we'll see. We'll see what ChatGPT says. Final decision: Luther Burden. Oh, that's sensational. That is a sensational draft pick. This would be extremely fortunate. The way the wide receivers fell in this draft, and Omarion Hampton is still out there. The offensive line run really blessed these teams in the 20s that needed skill positions. Yo, what is Mike Conley doing? Oh my God, he just hit that three. Insane wide receiver core for Houston. Yeah, man, they're probably not going to have Tank Dell this year, but you have Nico Collins and Luther Burden as your 1 and 2, and then you can have a wide receiver 3 by committee with Christian Kirk and John Mechie, with Justin Watson from Kansas City and Braxton Berrios. Like you have a solid receiving core, and at that point, man, the offensive line is actually the only thing stopping Houston from being a super team. Okay, so next team, the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams have a pretty interesting situation. I actually find that this is pretty hard to call. Minnesota is giving actually, I did not know this was going to happen. I thought the Lakers were up 7 in like the middle of the first. Okay, Los Angeles Rams. They're not going at this point. They're not going receiver like of the future. Honestly, this is probably a defensive pick, but there's an outside shot to take a long-term quarterback. Okay. The Rams will have to balance their short-term win now aspirations with the need for a long-term QB. Their QBs are Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 older QBs that could retire at any time. However, they have brought back Matthew Stafford to win a Super Bowl, and they competed with the Super Bowl champions of last year better than anyone else. Okay. Their win now needs include mainly in no particular order. Okay. Their win now needs, for the most part, linebacker, safety, no, linebacker, corner. Yeah, linebacker, corner. Linebacker and their secondary needs are, hold on. Their lesser needs are safety, depth along the defensive line, and center. Okay. Let's go. ChatGPT. I think it's going to give ChatGPT, it's going to give the Rams a corner. That's what it's got to be. Siobhan Revell, Schwessinger. Shit, they might go Jackson Dart. Holy shit. The Los Angeles Rams select Jackson Dart. They select a quarterback that they can sit and develop. They have the ability. Hold on, let's see. The decision point. If the Rams are serious about this is the moment to pull the trigger on a quarterback, Dart won't be available much longer. He's not perfect, but McVay might see enough play to mold him. If they wait, they risk punting quarterback to a much weaker group next year. Well, that's not true, but maybe it's weaker for the end of the draft. Yo, so here's the thing, King. Like, they have old quarterbacks, bro. At some point, they're gonna pull the trigger on a quarterback, and honestly, if you like Jackson Dart, this might be the spot. This might be the spot. ChatGPT looked at their options because, again, look at their options here for what they need, right? So they're most likely drafting for depth or backups because their needs. The best corner available is Siobhan Revell, who's coming off an ACL tear. The next best linebacker available, Carson Schwessinger. This is a second-round pick. They could go double down on some other positions, but at receiver, bro, they have Puka Nakua. They just signed Devontae Adams, and they gave Tutu Atwell $10 million a year. So I don't think they're going there. At running back, they have Kyron Williams, and they drafted Blake Corum in round 3. I don't think they're going there. Now, maybe they could go tight end, but Colston Loveland, I think he's gone. Maybe Higbee is on the board. You know what? Loveland isn't gone. I have to edit this. You know what? We have to add tight end here. Let's see what tight end does. Okay. Tight end might switch this pick to Loveland. Oh, it picked Dart again. So the Rams get a viable quarterback in case Stafford gets hurt. It's a long-term solution for Sean McVay. And holy shit, the Rams take Jackson Dart. That really fucks over the teams that are waiting for these quarterbacks. So the Raiders and Browns, Giants, they really got fucked here. Okay. Baltimore Ravens. We got a need for probably guard. Probably guard and defense. Defensively, it could be a safety or an edge rusher. I think edge rusher is actually a huge need for them. The Ravens' main needs are edge rusher and DT. In no particular order. And their other needs are okay. Donovan Ezeraku. Oh no, it's not. Oh shit, they haven't picked yet. Okay, they did pick Ezeraku. Yo, Hampton is still falling. Emin is still falling. Detroit Lions on the board. Lions. Okay. Lions, they're not going corner because they just went 2 corners in the top 2 rounds last year. They're not going safety. I can't see them going linebacker. I think they could definitely go edge. But I don't think the value is great there. I think this is either edge or guard. edge, guard. That those are the big needs. The Lions' main needs are edge rusher and guard in no particular order. They could also consider, what else could they consider? Receiver? I don't think so. Not this high. That's it. You know what? That's it. They could also consider depth at other positions where they already have starters. Nick Scarton, Landon Jackson, Donovan. Okay, Donovan Jackson from Ohio State makes sense. That's a really good pick. It's really fortunate for them that he's still there, and that's a hand in glove fit for them at right guard. They can just slide him in there, and yeah, that's an outstanding pick for them. Commanders at 29. Washington Commanders. Okay, so I also realized that the Commanders have like 2 draft picks in this draft. Not literally, but they have like 2 picks in the first 120, I think. So they don't really have that many cracks at or that they don't have that many dart tosses that are like quality darts. Um, it's not going to be a receiver this high, I don't think, because they have Debo and McLaurin. Now, after Debo and McLaurin, they have KJ Osborne, Noah Brown, and Luke McCaffrey. I think there's enough there to not need a receiver in comparison to offensive line, where I actually think that they could use a right tackle upgrade. They could use a guard because Sam Cosmi is not going to be here. Not going to be playing until the middle of the year. And then Nick Allegretti is aging, so you could just draft somebody that plays for Allegretti whenever he's done. You could definitely go offensive line. It was probably early I don't think they're going to go running back because I do think, hilariously enough, they're in a Super Bowl window in their opinion. So if you think from a Super Bowl window standpoint, it's edge rusher, it's offensive line. It's edge rusher, it's offensive line. I'm trying to think somewhere else. Those are the main ones. So I'm gonna have oddly enough, hold on. I'm gonna have a very similar thing to Detroit. I'm just gonna copy paste this shit. The Commanders needs our edge rusher and OL. They also okay. Let's see it. They go Nick Scarton. Shit. Well, that gives them some pretty solid depth at defensive end then if they get some quality here. He's a bigger defensive end, which does align with some of their other defensive ends. They seem to have a tendency to go a little bit bigger at that position. Buffalo Bills at number 30. Okay, Bills is. I feel like if this were to happen like this would be a team that could draft Hampton and trade James Cook on day 2. But if not, though, like they're not going tight end. Maybe they go receiver. Abuka falling this far is wild, but like teams really be needing trench players. And trench players are sexy after the way the Eagles won the Super Bowl. This team is not going linebacker this high. I don't think they're going edge because they have 4 edge rushers. I think they could go defensive tackle. That's very possible. They could go corner. So defensive tackle and corner are the big needs defensively. And then offensively, perhaps receiver, but also no. They paid Shakir. They drafted Coleman. They paid Palmer. Nah, they have Sam. I don't think so. Okay, defensive tackle or corner. The Bills main. You know what? No, run that shit. I like this format. At this point, I damn near have a format. The Bills' main needs are CB and DT. Siobhan Revel. So I think with them, they just signed Trey White. They can play Trey White until Revel is healthy, but once he's healthy, maybe it's Revel. Once Revel is healthy, he'll be ready to go. Kansas City Chiefs. This is a trench pick like crazy. This has to be. I think the need for trenches are so strong. Okay. Definitely defensive tackle. And if not, you know what? No, they have their starters on the offensive line. They're not good starters, but they have their starters. This pick has to be defensive tackle, man. Not even running back. This shit has to be defensive tackle. You know what? The Chiefs' main need is because there are other positions where they already have starters, such as wide receiver. No, they had Worthy last year, such as OL. Maybe running back. Do they have edge rushers? Not enough. Edge rusher. And cornerback. Okay. I think it's going to give them Derek Harmon, though. Oh my God, Loveland is still there. This board is crazy. And I think like what we're going to see on the draft is that teams are going to have to fight the tendency to go trench players because the skill position players are there. There's a lot of options, and teams at some point in the mid-teens are going to have to decide, what are we going to do? So they pick Harmon. We have our last pick. We have the Eagles. So the Eagles main needs are tight end, DT, edge rusher, and guard in no particular order. Howie Roseman's trends from the last 3 years, 2022, 2023, 2024, will be very important to consider. Okay. Let's see it. Ending with the Philadelphia Eagles. Future planning. Man, if we get Loveland, that'll be crazy. But also Landon Jackson. This is a very it's an on trend. It's a very on trend pick. But Loveland, Agbuka, and Omarion Hampton all going to the second round doesn't make sense. And we're going to do this again either tomorrow or Monday. And when we do this again, we have to fix this. We have to absolutely make sure that this does not happen again because this doesn't make sense at all. At all. So we have to fix this. We have to tweak how we approach this. I think we got this wrong. Okay, give me a summary of the 32 picks and give me a list of the best remaining players. Let's get a look at this to finish off. We're going to end the stream very soon, people. 5 hours of streaming today. What a day. Oh, it's taking long. ChatGPT needs a break. Okay, best remaining players. Loveland, Starks, Hampton, Emanwari, Walter Nolan is here. Abuka, Jalen Milroe, Henderson. Wow. This is a stacked second round. And then this, how do I click this? This is a table. I can't open this. You know what? It is what it is. I'll save this for later. Uh, you guys were all here for the picks, so that just is what it is. Shout out to everybody that tapped in. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel In Motion Football. We're gonna have a few more of these streams before the draft. I don't think I'll be drafting. I'll be live streaming for night 1, but I think I'll be live streaming for night 2. And if not, I'm definitely streaming all throughout day 3. And I actually think I have a very cool activity planned for day 3. So it's going to be a lot of fun, people. Like the video so that it goes further to more people, and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss when I go live. It's been a lot of fun. I'll see you guys either tomorrow or the day after. Road to 250 subs, so get us there. But I'm out. You guys take care. Peace.